Action! Whatever you do, don't go out and make a feature film. Let me explain. Now I know you're already getting your hate comments ready. You're ready to write that in there and be like, no, I have to make a feature film. Like, making a feature film is what's necessary and what everybody does. Well, just stop writing those hate comments and just listen to what I got to say about this before going into it.
Here's your problem right here.
To begin with, I want to say as a disclaimer that making a feature film has been very beneficial to myself. I'm going to be referencing that one quite a bit in this video, but the big thing that I want to say is think about what you're doing and what story you're telling before having the ambition to just make a long format movie. Because the number one thing is, there are so many platforms available now to show and express your content that doesn't have to be a feature-length narrative. There is online platforms like Vimeo, YouTube, there's even stuff like Facebook and Instagram, and there's more and more popping up each day. Just because that the biggest one available, which is a movie theater, and the most profitable one is a movie theater, doesn't mean that's what you should aim to go for. Maybe your story that you've written doesn't fit that area, and maybe yours fits more as a vertical video in an Instagram story, or maybe it fits better as something on Facebook as someone watches or scrolls through their feed. That being said, don't think of it as bad content or that a bad platform to view. That's actually some of the most viewed places on the planet. So definitely keep that in mind when doing your next project. But let's get into the project I'm going to be talking about, which is the feature film that I made a couple years ago, the mistakes that I made on the road, and was it necessary and helpful for me to do a feature-length project like 3 years ago. So the film that I'm going to be talking about quite a bit today is a film that I made called Dead Rush, which was a feature-length first-person zombie apocalypse movie that we made like in 2015. That's so long ago. Oh boy, it feels like just yesterday, but we made that a while ago. Number one thing that I want to bring up about that movie was that it was a crazy experience, and I will talk more about the process of making that film in future episodes. But the number one thing was I wanted to do a feature film so badly. I made a bunch of short films. I made a short film version of Dead Rush in 2014, and I was ready to graduate my little basement film school and do a feature film. I wanted to do one because it was like the big thing that all of my heroes and idols did, and I thought that I was ready. I wasn't.
All right, and camera speeding and
action. Now that's okay, because being ambitious is a great thing as a filmmaker, and it's something to put yourself on the map, but you have to be ready for the big challenges that you're going to go through. If you're doing your first film ever, and this is like the first thing ever, you're like, I want to make a feature film because that's what I have to do. It's not. Think about what your story is, think about the narrative that you're trying to tell, and is it too much and are you biting off more than you can chew by doing a full-length movie? But let's reverse and go back to my story. I was like ready. I made a couple short films, I had this funding available to me, I was ready to bite the bullet and go into making my first feature film, which most of the process I have learned so much about. What I'm gonna give you guys as far as direction goes, are you cool being in your bare feet? And actually, it was probably the biggest learning experience that I've ever done in my entire life. I learned everything about like how to make a movie properly, how to shoot a film in 2 weeks, which I was only used to shooting in like 3 days. Working with like big money as opposed to like pocket change. I also learned working with bigger actors, bigger crew, having a crew house, and like doing all this insane stuff, music licensing, and everything was like what I had done as a short film on steroids. So it was this big, overwhelming experience, and one of the most stressful things that I have ever done. Okay, cool. That was brilliant. I remember one time that we lost like 3 locations in one day, and like I was just so overwhelmed with the script and directing and trying to figure out where the story was going. And I remember I was walking up the street in my bare feet. I had the AD and then my girlfriend chasing after me, and I had no idea what I was doing. I thought it was like the worst project ever. It was terrible. That being said, I learned a lot about my creative process and how I make movies. Be prepared. If you are like ready, you're like, I've done my short films, I'm gonna do this feature. Be prepared that you are going to go through the hardest thing you have ever gone through ever. Like there is no soft way to put it. You're gonna go through the most stressful days you've ever gone through, the hardest and longest days you've ever gone through, and you're going to feel like you're going to quit. You're gonna feel like you wanna stop, because this is just this thing that's towing back on you. And every single big filmmaker, whether it's your favorites like Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, they've all gone through parts in their career and parts in their projects where they look back at their film and go, what have I done? So be prepared to fail and be prepared to be going through struggle. Struggle leads to success, and without intense struggle, you will never achieve the big success that you want to go through. That all being said, Dead Rush was this incredible learning experience for myself. So I learned a lot. I worked with a lot of great people. The biggest benefits that I got from the project was that I had worked with an incredible crew. We built this incredible bond, and having 2 weeks to work on something so large was enough time to not only go from being a team and a crew, but evolving into a family. And so having a project that ran that long definitely gave me those benefits. The other big benefits from working on a feature film were the fact that I have now that under my belt. I met a lot of people after doing the movie, and I can now just say that I've done a feature film. The big things and most misconceived ideas about doing feature films are that you might not get distribution on your film, that might not have, or it might not happen for a while. The process of doing like screenings and theatricals, there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of films being produced every single year, if not month, if not week. So your film is a one tiny speck in thousands of others. So really consider the story you're trying to tell and how it fits into the market of other films before being like, I'm making this feature film. And I mean, other big things that you're gonna have to realize is that it is a long time to make a feature film. It's not like a couple weeks like a short film. I've never done a film that takes, feature film can take up to a year, if not 2 years. Sometimes people spend like 10 years on one feature film. So remember that it's not gonna be a couple months or a couple weeks. It's going to be a massive chunk out of your life. So be prepared to put that effort into your project. And that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to take a look at Dead Rush, the feature film that we made, there is a couple spots. I have a couple links to where you can download the movie available. Again, it's one of those movies that's in a bit of a limbo right now. Again, it was a crazy, incredible experience. I never regret doing anything part of that project, but the big thing that I recommend for you guys is take time and know that it is a long process and a long road. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in another video.